Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today we have the iPhone 3 and I am very excited to showcase this device to you. But before we get to that, after 1 week of use, I want to offer 3 improvements that I can definitely see Light making, but that they do need to address these, and also the mindset around this device because of its price. So the 3 improvements, the first one is Bluetooth consistency. I connected this device to a wide array of Bluetooth devices, even more than the iPhone 2, but some of them have full functionality and others not so much. So getting that Bluetooth consistency would be ideal for this device. The other area is implementing some sort of communication standard. This device has SMS, MMS, full group text compatibility, pictures, all of those things. But some people use other communication standards like RCS or WhatsApp or Beeper. So getting that out of the way, implementing it and somehow, I think will help the device and will definitely be a more appealing purchase for those who may be on the fence because of the price. And then the third area of improvement that I have seen after a week is just to unlock the full potential. There are some features that are dormant right now, like the fingerprint ID, like the eSIM, like the NFC. And Light is going to push an update to unlock all of those, but just seeing them and using them would have been even greater. But I am very confident that they're going to finalize those details and make sure that they implement them according to their timeline. I believe the device is just going to get better and better over time, and it's going to be a great investment. But that's where the mindset for this device comes in. Great device, hardware is amazing. We're going to see that in just a second. But the thing that we really need to consider is, when I'm approaching this device from a digital minimalist perspective, do I just really want a cool device? Am I being consumerist about it? Or is this device actually going to support the lifestyle that I want? And I want you to reflect on that as you watch this review, because I think it's important to consider, yes, this is a very expensive device, but how long are you going to keep it for? I bought this device to be my device for the next 10 years. So I expect it to last that long, not only because of the hardware, but also because of the commitment of the company. So it's going to cost me about $50 per year. That's nothing. That's worth my peace of mind and everything. But if you're just purchasing this as a whim, as a trying to fix my life, this may not be the device for that. You may need to try other things first. And if those don't work, then yeah, for sure, give it a try. This is an excellent device. We're just going to see it right now. But just approach that mindset first and understand what you're getting into before you purchase the device. All right, now is the time that you've been waiting for. I'm really excited to showcase this device, so let's get to the full review. So here we have it, the iPhone 3. Hardware, software are an extremely premium experience. I enjoyed using this device thoroughly, and I think Light has knocked it out of the park. But before we get started with a few extra details, there's always frequently asked questions, and as you can see them right here, there is no access to a few apps that may be essential for you, but that's okay. I think the experience is still extremely well done. The iPhone 2 used to be my top device, but this feels like a massive upgrade over it. And there are some things that do feel better, like, for example, the buttons, the construction of the device, the camera, which I will showcase some samples in just a second. Everything just feels intentionally made and very well done. So props to Light for designing a phone that does not only look premium, but it does also feel premium. It is a bit of a squarish phone, so the form factor takes a little bit to get used to it. The scrolling wheel for brightness is a very nice touch, and I did not find that this triggered when it was in my pocket, so that was really nice. When it comes to using the software of the device, I also enjoyed that experience. Everything unlocks pretty fast. You have access in the future to a fingerprint. You have the power button in there. You have the dedicated camera button, which activates the camera. It's quite fast. But this one only activates when the phone is live, not when it's dormant. So that was extremely well intentionally placed. Now, when it comes to the software responsiveness of the device, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Everything just kind of flies. Whereas in the past, I used to feel like the iPhone 2 lagged because of the e-ink screen. It felt a little clunky, a little slow. This time around, when you're typing, when you're getting through different things, Everything is just extremely responsive. The OLED screen is not hard in the eyes. So when you're composing a text message, it's just right there. You're able to correct your mistakes. You're able to kind of like go over some examples. As you see right here, I made a mistake. You tap it, you find the word that you need, and the sensitivity is well adjusted so that you feel like you can send text messages back and forth, and it's done on portrait mode. You also have the voice to text that allows you to compose a text message via voice, and there are no issues in there. Everything is extremely responsive, very nice to use. Now, there is this new extra feature, which is the camera, and I want to showcase that very well because, again, the Lightphone 2 did not have that. And the camera performs extremely well for this first initial version. I do expect Light to make significant improvements for the future, but for what I am able to see, and I tested it in a wide array of scenarios, as you're seeing here in the pictures, the dynamic range, the selfie camera, the ability to take video, everything felt up to par with probably a mid-range to high-end smartphone. So something in that price range of $499 and $799. Of course, there is always room for improvement, and I think they are going to continue fine-tuning the camera. This is their first rodeo when it comes to the camera. So I expect improvements in this area, but everything felt really nice. As you see right here, I'm showcasing to you the selfie camera, and it's very fast to use, very nice. Now let's move to podcast performance. There has been a little bit of a redesign in the podcast performance, but everything is just working. You get through it, you download it, you sync it, you are able to connect to Bluetooth. And I did mention that some Bluetooth devices work better than others, but just going through the podcast application, just getting through the overall feel of the device, everything just works. So I personally enjoyed using the device in this capacity because you are not having this tinkering or having to wait for a few things. And I think the example that shines the best is directions. When it comes to the directions performance for the device, I really was impressed. Of course, coming from a smartphone, you may not be impressed, but coming from a Lightphone 2 or maybe other minimal or Dumbphone device, you say, wow, this was extremely well done. The car reroutes with you, it speaks to you very clearly, and you can get walking, driving, and public transit directions. The GPS lock, it's extremely fast, and you have essentially access to all of these utilities without many issues. So GPS performance, podcast performance, all the tools feel like an extreme refinement over the Lightphone. Another one that I did test was the calendar. The calendar just kind of works extremely well as well with the sync. It's Google Sync, CalDAV, and also Apple. So you have a wider array of possibilities with both the Lightphone 2 and the Lightphone 3. But one of my favorite improvements over the calendar was the ability to set different media, ringer, alarm, and in-call volumes. So it's not controlled by one volume ringer anymore. Instead, it is clearly separated into many different arrays, and you have the ability to also change your calls, your text messages, your alarms into different ringtones. The only caveat that I think when it comes to some of these performance areas with the directions is the database that it uses. And this is where the directory tool truly helps because you're able to find any businesses. Right here, I'm going to type Starbucks is usually the one that we use. And this uses a better database than here Maps. And then you can just right away connect it with the directions app, call, find the information that you need for whatever business it is that you need to use. And you have access to the best of both worlds. A great database based on the Google Maps API with here Maps being private and not selling your data when you are moving throughout the city. So use the directory with the directions tool in conjunction, and you're going to have a good time. Music tool, the storage got expanded, 128 gigs of storage. The speaker loud gets really, really loud, about 100 dB when it comes to maximum volume performance. I'm not going to play a track here for obvious reasons of copyright, but it does get really loud. It is a very good performer, and I did not have issues while listening to music or loading a larger library than the 1 gig on the Light Phone 2. So I personally prefer this phone, of course, because you're able to have more songs in it. Now, there are some aspects that are also still in total development and maybe expansion of development. You have the personal hotspot, which is able to connect to you now that this has 5G. It's extremely fast for any kind of connection, but just going through the device, getting around feels like a premium experience. I'm going to do a small comparison with the Light Phone 2, and as you see, it's still fine and still gets through what it needs to do, but the e-ink screen just feels a little bit slower, a little bit clunkier. Of course, the hardware is definitely slower, so it's not going to perform at the same speed, but it's just something that I personally prefer now, that this device is fast, it's useful. You get in, get out, get back. You don't have to be waiting a long time like with the Light Phone 2. Now I want to turn and to speak about, well, who is this device for and should I buy it? It's quite an expensive device as of right now. It is $599. So it is a little bit of a steeper price, but should I purchase this? Is this something that is going to make my life better? Well, the way I think about it is if you are content with the array of tools that they already have and you want to have a great hardware and software premium experience, this device is 100% worth it because you are adopting a new lifestyle and making sure that it works with it. But if you need a few extra apps, let it be WhatsApp, let it be Slack, let it be a work app that you want to have, there are other alternatives that may serve you better because you want to keep that convenience in your life. You don't want to switch to something like Here Maps or not having the access to all of the podcasting features. So in this case, I'm going to recommend a different device, something like the minimal phone. It has the e-ink screen, it has the keyboard. You're able to install pretty much any app that you want. The experience is going to be different. It's still going to be good, but it's just going to be completely different than on the Light Phone 3 because it has the potential of distraction. The Light Phone 3 does not have the potential for distraction because, again, you cannot install all of those applications. But after 1 week of using this device, I am convinced that this is going to be the first mainstream intentional phone. And that is to mean that, yes, it is expensive, but I think it's going to give people no excuses because it just works. It has that good feeling hardware and software wise, and Light with their track record, they have promised future improvements that is just going to continue making the phone a better investment over time. There are, of course, things that I have not covered on this review, and I welcome you to ask your questions, not only here on this review, but also on the live stream. There is a concurrent live stream happening right now as I am releasing this review that you can go to my channel and interact with me. I'll be there for 2 hours answering questions, more specific questions about the Light Phone 3. And I hope that I'm able to answer your question and hopefully deliver some value for you to think whether this device is for you or not. Thank you for watching this review. Thank you for seeing all of the capabilities of the Light Phone 3. And I'm really excited that this device can finally be that experience that many are waiting for, a premium experience on an intentional device. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.